Welcome to the April 28th, 2017 edition of Colorado Inside Out Postgame, a special web-exclusive production here on Channel 12. Let's get a quick take on President Trump's first 100 days in office. Patty Calhoun from Westward, what are some of the biggest surprises you've seen so far? There's a lot to work for from here, so pick your favorite, biggest surprise in the first 100 days of President Donald Trump.
That we're still on the planet, I would say, is my biggest surprise. As a secondary surprise, that he is still in office. You know, you thought, okay, if we don't blow up, maybe he will be impeached early. I think the most pleasant surprise is how many people have suddenly gotten active in paying attention to politics, paying attention to issues, going out and protesting politely when there are times to protest, writing their congresspeople, jamming their congresspeople's phones. I mean, people have really learned to get a lot more engaged in the process. And that, I would say, is possibly the only pleasant surprise.
Joey Bunch, senior political correspondent with ColoradoPolitics.com. There's a lot of surprises to pick from here. I guess my first one will be the one we just heard, which is he celebrated his 100 days by saying this job is really hard. He thought it'd be a lot easier and that he misses his old life. Not sure that's you want to kick off the news cycle of your 100 days, but you know, crazier things have been tweeted. Joey, what do you think is what's the biggest surprise for you you've seen so far in these first 100 days?
That Hillary Clinton is not in jail. When are we going to lock her up? But you know, I was reading the Washington Post this morning, and Mike Flynn, you know, was told by the Pentagon, don't do business with the Russians, and a month later he did business with the Russians. So is that chant going to change to lock him up? And are they talking about Flynn or are they talking about Trump? Look, this is politics. You know, yeah, there's a lot of political fervor, there's a lot of protests, but you know, there were a lot of political fervor and there were a lot of protests when Obama took office. It was called the Tea Party. And I think that the most surprising thing, or maybe not surprising, we're seeing Democrats mount a grassroots campaign modeled after the Tea Party. That's the most surprising thing to me, and I don't think it's going to quit anytime soon. This weekend we've got a climate change march in Denver. You know, I guess next weekend we'll have a March of Dimes march in Denver. I don't know when the marches stop. I've stopped going to them. I can't keep up.
Public affairs consultant Ben Gelt joins the table. We have a lot of material to work from, like we've said, but we've seen a lot of the different, whether it's a tweet mentioning Representative Ken Buck, or judicial decisions, or we've seen even things coming through with the Attorney General affect Colorado. So you don't have to stay with Colorado, but you see all the different things that have happened with President Donald Trump's first 100 days. Take your pick.
So much to choose from. You know, one thing that stands out to me quite a bit, there's all this polling that comes out and everybody wants to talk about his unfavorability ratings and his low popularity and all this and that. You know, I think the thing that really cuts through that to me is that 98% of people that voted for him would still vote for him. 97 or 95% of Republicans still support him. It seems like, in spite of all the marching, in spite of all the organizing and activation that's gone on, not just the core of his base, but the totality of his base is not backing off one iota. So I think the big surprise may yet to come, which would be next year in the midterm elections, where I think a lot of Democrats are already thinking we're going to make a lot of gains. I don't see a lot of writing on the wall that says so.
Michael Fields runs up the panel, State Director of Americans for Prosperity, Colorado. A lot of things to choose from, a lot of ramifications, both the state of Colorado and the nation. President Donald Trump's first 100 days, what's one of your biggest surprises?
Well, I think maybe looking back, it shouldn't have been a surprise, but the failure of repealing and replacing Obamacare is a big deal. Republicans couldn't come together, even though they had majorities. They had the presidency. There was a push for it, and that failed. But I also think the other thing is the nuclear option being used for the Supreme Court. This is going to have long-term impacts for the Supreme Court coming up.
Indeed. That is all the time we have for Colorado Inside Postgame this week. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. For everyone here at CPT12.org, I'm Dominic Dezzutti. Thanks for watching.